Test 1, 2, 3. Hey, how's everybody doing here? It's me, Custoda Aaron. How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Let me see if I can get this so the web browser's there. I hope you all doing all right. If you're watching on video on demand, that's cool. If you're on YouTube, hey, welcome YouTube. If you're on Twitch, I will be trying to monitor both chats at the same time. It's a little tricky. I use Streamlabs, and it doesn't necessarily easily make it easy to monitor both those. But they have a multi-stream button, but it doesn't tell me when there's a new message in the multi-stream. There should be like an alert. So it's a little bit harder to keep track of. And then I have to switch it back to Twitch so I can answer questions, or I have to have YouTube open in our tab. So the stresses of multi-streaming to two platforms at once. So we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on Twitch. What are we doing today? Well, it's lunch hour, and lunch hour for me always means we're doing some .NET stuff. We're going to play around with unusual things that most people would not do in .NET. Some would consider taboo, or let's get the opinion of Kylo Ren.
.NET. Burn it down. Rey, the Jedi, the Sith, all of it, just let it go. Burn it down.
All right, that's Kylo Ren. Kylo, should we use Maui? Let's guess Kylo Ren if we should use Maui. I mean, he is leader of the New World Order in the Star Wars stuff.
Maui? Yeah, go Avalon. Go, you know. Maui's alright. But at least, we don't run that. All the Star Destroyers and stuff, we totally run Avalon for that.
You've heard it here, folks. Kylo Ren's saying that all the Star Destroyers for the New Order, they're basically running Avalon instead of Maui. I'm shocked. But I mean, it's on the internet, so it's gotta be real now, right? All right. Let's see here. We're gonna today try to build a Mac application in .NET. A real Mac application, a Mac Cocoa, an AppKit based application. That's what we're gonna try to do today here. If you watched the previous stream, we did Apple TV, and we got a very basic Apple TV app working. Now, we could actually go through and do .NET in a way where we could have multiple UI layers on this. And maybe what we'll do is we'll try to get a Linux layer also working. I mean, that sounds like it would be interesting too, right? And Linux, there's a couple different ways you could do this. Obviously, some people are going to say, well, you could do that in Maui. Yeah, you could, but we're talking about unusual things. We should maybe try to use it in like GTK Sharp or something like that and see if we can get something working. We'll take a look at that after. And I know Avalon also supports Linux, but that's something that's not unusual. Let's go to new. And from new, we're in Visual Studio 2022. So real quickly here, let's pour one out for Visual Studio. Also, poor Visual Studio has been canceled, been given last day notice. So, you know. Oh, who do I have? I have audio bleeding through. Let me see if I can fix that. I apologize. Right, that should fix that. Yeah, Visual Studio for the Mac has been end of life ban. Next year, no longer supported. Very sad indeed. Been a user for it for many years. So that's the idea of how the stream came about. Is I've really been using Visual Studio for Mac for so many years. Back when it was called Mono Develop, and also when it was called Xamarin Studios. And I've written a lot of things with it. I've got paid to write some stuff for it. So because of that, I'm kind of sad a little bit. So see here, I'm gonna go into my options here under Visual Studio for the Mac 2022 for one of the final times. You cannot do this on Windows because you can't develop Mac stuff on Windows. So you're only gonna be on a Mac to do this, or if you have Rider on a Mac, you do this. So we can see here we have a Catalyst application. That's not a real application. All right, that's not real. Catalyst is basically iPad on Mac. And so that's an iOS application when it comes down to it. Now they give you a Mac application here and Mac application, Cocoa application. What's the difference between these? All right, so if we use macOS application here, this is a new .NET 6 application using the .NET 6 stuff for Mac. And if we go Cocoa app here, this is Xamarin. And this is a basic Cocoa app with storyboard support. Let's take a look at both these, actually. I'm kind of curious to see what happens here. So let's see here. I've actually never tried the .NET one. Let's see, Mac, POC, .NET, Mac, .NET, POC. I'm going to put this in our developer. I'm going to make a folder called POC because I think I'm going to end up deleting this one. Sure. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if it gets me the ability to make a real Mac application here. So what's going on here? Actually, this worked. Let's go check and see what's going on here with the properties of it. So no application title. Well, we should probably give that POC. Application ID, we'll figure all that stuff out later. Debug. We don't need any custom debugging. We'll keep a debug. Target platform should be ARM, any CPU. So that looks like they don't have. It looks like they don't have ARM support in here right now. They have x86, x84, Titanium, and any CPU. I'm going to use any CPU. I want all the debugging information. I'm not going to assign assemblies right now. We'll probably need to do that if we ever want to ship it. Let's go into our configurations. That all looks good here. Maybe setting. That looks good here. What do we got here for Visual Studio? That's just text file stuff. Just looking to see if there's anything special here that's different that I don't know about. This all looks okay. Let's just try to run this thing and see what happens on my Mac. We should get probably blank nothingness. That's my guess. I also want to see what's going on here with the build output. So let's open that up and see if we can see what's going on here. So this is definitely .NET 7. You can see there in the build output. Where did output go? Oh, geez. That's my build output. Here it is. Let's pin that up. Build output. .NET 7. How do I know? Because right here, you can see here, object directory, .NET 7, x64. That's really stupid, though, that it doesn't have ARM support. So built. Oh, it's running over here. It's asking for developer tools access. Let's see what happens if we type a password and see if this thing actually will run. Okay. I got nothing. Nothing. Come on. I got nothing. Application output. What are we getting? Application output here. Let's bring the application output. See what's going on here. It says it's loading it. Let me see if it's running somewhere. Oh, wait. Here we go. We got a window. Just didn't pop up right away. Okay, we got a window. A window that doesn't do anything. That's well, that's a bummer. Let's go take a look at our storyboard file then. See if we double click on a storyboard, what happens. Oh, look at this. It actually opens up an Xcode. Wow, okay. Hey, I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see if we can start hacking this thing out. Wait for it. I hope you're all having a great Friday. If you're watching, it seems like a lot of people are watching my stream on demand on YouTube. So man, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks. Let me know. Jump in Discord. The Discord is Dev Club, and throw a shout out and over here in Dev Club. And if you have some questions, throw them out. Like, hey man, Aaron, I want you to do something different on the stream. If you got some things you'd like to see on the live stream, let me know. I hang out in Discord all the time. Dev Club. There's a link in the Twitters and also the notes for this. Well. So wow, it opened Xcode. Boy, it is not loading the POC at all. That's a big old bummer. I'm not really sure what's going on here. We'll give it a little bit here before we get impatient and cancel it out. I also got my friend Ryder running here. So if Visual Studio for the Mac is having some problems, we can try Ryder and see what happens. Now, normally Visual Studio for Mac would be just shipping over the project. Now, it doesn't need to create the Xcode project, right, on the fly, that then Xcode can open up. And so one of the issues could be when Visual Studio for Mac is making that Xcode project, maybe it's just not making it right. and that's the reason why Xcode can't open it. So let's that's been too long. Let's see if I can close this and see if it Xcode won't let me close it. Boy, I hate using the 3-finger salute. I hate going in and stopping it here. It always seems like this is going to be chaotic if you do this, but let's try to force code and Xcode to see what happens here. Let's also make sure that yeah, I know you couldn't communicate with Xcode. You could, but you didn't like it. Let's go through and make sure, I'm signed in. That's not what I want. Let's go into preferences and make sure that Apple Xcode is set to, that's why, it's set to the RC. That ain't going to work. We need to set this to Xcode. That's what's going on. Because Visual Studio does not know about the RC. That's gonna be chaos. And so we're gonna go ahead and restart Visual Studio. Say okay to that, and let Visual Studio open back up. That's my bad. That's not Visual Studio's fault per se. That's me. I know already that Visual Studio for Mac does not support the new version of Xcode's RC for 15, so I should not be trying to have it use it, because I'm just setting myself up for failure, right? But I have both versions of Xcode on, and Xcode should work with the old version without problems, or Visual Studio should work with the old version. So let's see here. I know it just bounced over on the dock. We'll see if it opens up this time. Okay, I'm getting something different this time. Hey, there we go. That's the issue. All right, well, so our first debugging was make sure that you're using only an Xcode version that's supported by the platform. All right, and I just happen to know that doesn't work with that otherwise. So bam, it's a little bit different over here on the Mac version. We should probably go look at some C# code real quick here, just to say that, you know, if we look here, we've got the delegate, right? So like Apple TV, we've got our view controllers here, and we've got a delegate, and our delegate's what starts the application, and the delegate's going to just dig up whatever the first storyboard file says is out there for it, right? And that's coming, you know, your main starts your delegate starts up, and the delegate's just going to say that. Inside of our main view controller, we pour one out. We have a native handle here. This tells us right here to go grab that stuff for a storyboard. And then you can see here, they've already overrid some methods for us. So they viewed load comes for free in this one. And then represented update. I'm not sure why this is in the project. NS object for represented object. Update the view of already loaded. I mean, you should be doing that, override. If you did appear, and that's where you should be doing that kind of stuff, right? Right? So that's weird that they have this and they're saying this for here. I'm not sure why they're saying that there, that this is for it. May have to look that up in the docs after, but this looks very similar to what we did in Apple TV. You'll see here we also have our delegates, our designer outlets. And this is where all of our outlets are going to be, but we haven't done anything in the storyboard file, so there's nothing there to see. Let's go through and try to modify our storyboard file a little bit here. So let's see here. We're probably going to want to do some stuff here. Let me actually close Xcode. Let's do some housekeeping here. Actually, let's make this a real application. So I called it POC. I'm not a fan of that. Let me close this out. Not that we know it worked. Xcode on Mac open my other 2 projects I had open for the other stream. Let's make a new application, but this time it's not a POC. Let's make what should I make for a Mac application that'd be fun to kind of show it off and stuff? I think maybe a CRM system, which is a real quick, dirty CRM system. That stands for Customer Relationship Management System. Those are pretty easy to build. I'm trying to think here. In the world of custom applications, that's something that's popular. I could also build like a Mars weather app, but then we have to call them NASA APIs, and I've done that before. Got some code later on that does that, but I think the CRM system is a little bit maybe a better idea here, because it'll give me the ability to have several tabs and stuff, and we can explain with that. Hey, what's up? First time chatter. Although I can't read whatever that is you typed in. MPNBT. I don't know what that word means. It may be in another language, but welcome to the first time chatter. Welcome to the stream. Let's see here. We're gonna call this .NET. I usually like to, because I write in so many different technologies in my project names, I usually have like the technology it uses first. But because if I'm doing a Swift project, I can look at all the folders in my developer folder and say, oh, okay, that's a Swift project, that's a .NET project. I have a good idea of that. But since this is a separate .NET, we'll make a folder for it, and that way we don't have to do that. And we'll try to make this like as realistic as it would if I'd been paid to do this instead of just doing it for fun on a stream. So let's see here. That would be I'd usually have the company name, right? Custoda, and this would be the CRM, and this is going to be our Mac OS. That's the name of the project, and we're going to call this just Custoda CRM. The project name will be the UI for Mac, and we'll make a solution name of CRM, and then what we'll probably end up doing is we can put some other UI on top of this, and we can reuse maybe some code. We'll make a shared library. I think that's also another way I'd write this. So let's go into here and .NET. Let's make a .NET folder. We'll open it in here. We'll say that this is where we want to put it. Make a new folder in this folder. We want the gets. Let's use get. That sounds like a good idea. Let's take a look at this here. We're back up here. All right. So we want to do some code changes here right away. So one, we'll need to log into the CRM system. So let's rename this. And we'll call this authentication view controller. And if I remember right, it does not do anything for renaming with a turd. Yep, so let's undo that. Let me undo that. Because when I renamed the file, it did not rename the class. It's not a refactor. It's not like in Writer where it would refactor the actual code. So that should do that. And then if you restart the IDE, it should link those two files back together. It knows their names. It did not. That's great. Well, we're already batting 100 here, right? So let's see here. We're going to call this authentication view control instead. And we're going to go in and change the name here. That means we also have to change it over here. And that should change them there, but now it's broken the storyboard file because the storyboard file has no idea what the hell a authentication view controller is, pardon my French. So now let's go into our storyboard file, see if we can fix this and get this to run again. All right, so this is normal kind of thing here, refactoring, trying to get a main view here. So right here's our view controller. So how do you do that? How do you tell it which file to use? That's probably something that if you're new to this, you wouldn't know. Most of this is done in Xcode, right? Because we're using a storyboard file here. We will want to get our code out though, because we'll want to make some outlets. And so the only way to do that is with our outlets here. But you'll see here that the code it generated is wrong because I renamed the authentication, but it doesn't know that. And so the reason why it doesn't know that is because I haven't updated the view controller here yet in this view controller scene. All right. So inside the view controller scene, you'll see here, I'm going to click on this little, what looks like almost like a newspaper icon. I don't know what that's called, but it's right here. This is where we tell what kind of class it is. And what we need to do is we need to change this. It's called view controller, but we're going to call this an authentication view controller. That's the code that we are going to tell it that it links to. Now, what we have to do is just close this out and open it back up. What should happen is that once the storyboard file makes that update, it should link over to this authentication view controller instead. Okay, so because I named it over here, and technically speaking, you probably should do it in the storyboard file instead of trying to do it in C#. But let's see what happens if I double click on the main storyboard now again and see if we open it up, if the code now that it's asking us to use is not, it's still view controller. All right, that's a big bummer. Let's see if we can get this fixed. Let's go back in here, find our, so it's saying it's an authentication view controller here. And I do have authentication view controller here. Let's destroy, boy. We have the window controller. The window controller is telling it to have a relationship with this view controller, which is authentication view controller. This is the view. But my outlet's not right. And I have a feeling that if I do this, well, let's try this. I have a feeling that if I drag out some stuff, it's just not going to work. But we can try it. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I don't want to make this too big so we can't see it in Twitch. Let me make sure that I have Xcode set up to the right size. Because I have a much larger monitor than what we're streaming to. That looks like it's good. I cannot read your language. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what language you're writing in there, but buddy, I only know English, so I'm sorry about that. if you know how to convert that to Google Translate and to English, be more than happy to answer a question for you on that. Let's see here. Oh, and the storyboard ID I'd normally also set to the same name of the class, by the way. But let's try adding a label to this in some text boxes. So label. This should be a UI label. Before we do that, let's get a couple of stack views out there, so we can cheat code this chat stack. And so we're gonna need first a vertical and then a horizontal. So we'll do a vertical. We want this to fill the entire window, so we're gonna just kind of drag it over like this, and then we need to set some constraints, and we talked about this with Apple TV. We're gonna set the horizontal and vertical constraint. That's the easiest way to do this. And if we add these two in and then add the constraints, they should get added in. And this should now be in the entire window. It should be set to the coordinate there, and it's going to take up the whole entire window. So if we go here, that should get us there. So now inside of this stack view, we want to put another stack view, but we want to put a vertical stack view for each one of these things. We want to label in a text box. Let's see here. So what we're going to do here is say we want another stack view. So we're going to say stack, and we're going to do horizontal, and we're going to bring that into our stack view, right? So now this horizontal stack view, we can bring two things in. Now we want this, we want inside of here, we want to have a label. So let's drag a label into this stack view. Ooh, make sure we got it the right one. And then we also want a text field. A text field here. This will be for our username. And then we'll just kind of drag these over here. And those should be there. Now, of course, constraint system's kind of mad because it sees that we don't have the ability to do this, but these are in a stack layout. They shouldn't matter. Let's add some padding to this stack layout. So if we go here, we say that we want to fill, but we want spacing. Let's see, alignment fill. We want proportionally, and then we want to add some spacing. We're going to add 20 spacing, and then we're going to put in the label here username, and then let's make this text field longer. So if we go here to our text field, we can modify the constraints on this to say the size of it. Our width, we want to be let's make it 200, and our height, let's make it 20. Add these two constraints. And let's also make this 20 then for its height, so that we have some uniformity here. Actually, that does work. I think it'll be fine. We just need to make sure that the stack view here is alignment center. Oh, center. And that should center these two things together. So we got a username, right? And so this will be our box for username, and then we'll make another stack layout for the password. So let's go here and make another stack view, and we want this to be another horizontal stack view. So put it here, and this will be password. Ooh, but it needs to be below this one. Let's put it up here. Then we'll drag this one here, and then this one here, and now we can have a label and a password also. What's going to happen? These are not going to be lined up, and I'm going to be really mad. So if I want these to line up, now I think about it, I did this wrong. Let's delete this. Let's do this again. Let's make another stack view, make it vertical stack view again, because I want my labels to line up. So we're going to make another vertical stack view, put it here. We're going to put our username in that stack view. Like this, and then we'll make another vertical stack view that goes below this, and you just got to worry about your order. See, it's inside that stack view. It needs to be outside of it right here, and then we'll just drag this one up like this. Storyboard files, there's something to be said about them. You got to just have used them long enough to know how they work, and you get used to the feel, right? So what should happen is now what we're going to do is we're going to have this. We're going to put this a member, and then swap these two in Magic Sauce. We should have the same thing, but now our labels should match up because our label will put in the first stack view and then the secure text box over here. So let's get our label here. You'll see what I mean. And let's put in our label here after username. And we'll put that below. And then we'll say that this is password. And we need to put some spacing in between here. So we want to say proportionally, we want to add 20 pixels of spacing. That seems great. We'll put a secure text field in here. And our other one, and we'll see if we can get these to line up. And we need to make that one the same length as this one. So let's find out what this constraint is. That is what, 220. Let's make the same thing, 220. 20. And that is getting closer. And so the only difference now is I believe this stack view we have proportional and this one we don't. So this should be proportional. And then what should happen is we should say 20. And these two items should be pretty close to lining up. Meaning we'd have to do like 18 to get to the point where that's pretty close. Close enough. And so we got a username, we got a password, and then what we can do is we can make a button. Let's go and make a push button. That seems like it's a good idea. Let's go check all of our different buttons we have. We have an inline button, disclose button. Nope, we just want to go to push button. We'll bring that push button in and we'll put that in this stack view also. But oop, not that stack view, the other stack view, the horizontal one. Nope, we want it in the vertical one above. Put it like this. And then what we need to do is we need to put it below these stack views. And then we want to center this. So we want to be able to say that this is right here. We want to say leading, we want to say center, and there we go. And now we just need to put some fill on this fill. And we want to put spacing. Let's put 40. Ooh, 40 is too much. 30? Look at that. We've got a very simple username and password box here. Very quickly, a Mac application running in .NET. Now we have to make some outlets for this. Let's check over on YouTube, see if there's anybody over on YouTube. Nope. All right. Checking to see if there's anybody asking for anything. All right. So now we need to make our outlets, right? And so this is, well, first let's save this, close this out and see whether or not it runs or not. Did all that work. Don't want this to die on me. Let's see if our .NET application runs. It's not complaining yet. There's my window. There's my username and password box that I just built. Coolio. Now the trick will be actually getting it to attach this authentication view, which I'm not sure if it's going to do right or not because these files are not named the same, but we're about to find out here. So our header files where we want to do it, we need to do a split like we always do. We need to then bring in our storyboard as part of that, and then we want to make some outlets. So let's go here. Take a look what we got going on here. Bring this out, we don't care. Get our storyboard file so we can see this well. I think we have access to these. And to tell you the truth, I almost always just use it up here. Like under our window scene, you can see here, here's our authentication view controller. I almost drag outlets from here because of the fact it's easier to grab them, and you can grab them right from the view if you want, but that's not fun. So I'm gonna grab my button first. I don't, oh, I need to change the text in there to say login. And let's see here. So now we have that, we can drag over with our Mac shortcut, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. And we want a action. We're going to call this button login clicked. And we need to make methods uppercase in here. So what's this called? Login clicked. That seems like a .NET name, a good .NET name that's come up. But I have a problem here is that it did not fill out the outlet, as you can see here. There's an issue here because this should be a circle that was filled. Let's try the secure text field. I think we're going to have the same problem. So I do it here and I say text field password. Yeah, these should be filled in or not. I don't think this is going to work. Let's find out. Outlet, text field, username. All right. That's all the codes. Let's see what happens. It's going to ask me to save. We do want to save those. And we'll see whether or not we'll go into the designer and see whether or not it updated. It did. Look at that. The designer updated with our outlets. By theory, this should work. Man, okay. What's this now? Let's make a new folder. View controllers. Let's move our authentication view controller to there. And then let's make a new folder for services. And let's make a new authentication service. So new class. Authentication service. And this would be an interface. We'll just do authentication service first, and then we'll get a mock of it. Add new class and mock authentication service. We'll tell this class to implement the authentication service. Oh, I didn't call it I also don't have the VI plugins installed here, which really sucks. There should be I in .NET. Let's rename the file to be that too. In .NET we always use I for interfaces. We'll grab that since we're cheating. Come into our class and say we want to implement that interface. And put that on a new line. All right, so let's see here. Public bool is authenticated, and we'll take in a string of username, a string of password. It should be lowercase in .NET, and we'll say that, and then we'll also have to have some kind of user profile, right? So let's make a new folder for models. Add a new folder, models, and we'll make a user profile class, user profile, with the record, not a class, and we can just say that this record, this is C# 7. Can we do this in here? I think we can. String first name. String last name, string job title. Consistency here is important. I think this is in C#. This version of C# supports this, and then we would have string email. String department, string phone number, string cell number, and then let's do string username and string password. And that'll be a user profile. We'll say that user profiles have to have this information inside of them to be a user profile. And I think a record will work for this. This is a new type of thing in .NET, kind of like a data class in Kotlin, from what I remember. And so then our mock authentication service will just basically write a bunch of these. So we have is authenticated. We pass it a username and password. We'll come back with an authenticated. Then we'll we'll have a public property for this that says it's public user profile current user, and we need to use using custoda .crm .mac .models and that should get the current user. Yeah, all right, but I already see some flaws in here. Let's make a new project, because the one thing I didn't do is I don't want to refactor all this later. We should probably put all of these services and stuff in a separate project so that we can use other UI. Also set up a new project, just a class library. So we can just say multi-platform library. We just say it's going to be a general class library. We're going to say .NET 7. We're going to say project name is going to be custoda crm data. Let's call it lib for right now, for lack of. This will be our library, shared library. And so now what we want to do is delete. We don't need this class. We're gonna make our models over here actually, and new folder, models, and let's move our user profile over there instead. And then what's in our authentication service? This would be, instead of Mac, it'd be crm lib. That should get us access to that. Oh, we got to change our model over here too. We dragged it over. It definitely did not update the namespace lib. And so that should do that. And hopefully with lib, oh, we got to make a reference to it. So dependencies, add a project reference. And we're going to say if we want to add this new library as a reference. And what should happen now is that any of our code is shared over here. We can share it between multiple packages. And then over here, this project will build the lib project before it does that. So we're using this library here, and all that should happen now is, as long as this is models, user profile, custodes, we had to build this probably. Build. That build. Now if we build here. Oh, why is it mad now? It's saying, let's just see if it sees it. Custoda, crm, lib, models. There it is. So it sees it. The IDE will see it if it's fully spelled out. What did I miss? Oh, I missed models here. That's why. And now we can just take all this out, because the namespace will have it for us. Okay. But we also want this authentication service out here too. So that's another problem, is that really the authentication service should be part of this shared project too. So let's do this. Let's move the whole service folder over here also. Move. And once again, unlike, I want it in the root, not in the models folder. No, I don't. I want to move it outside the models folder. Oh boy. Boy, this UI is terrible. Look at this. I'm just trying to move it. Yes. There we go. So we're going to have to fix a couple things here. First, we had to fix the namespace here. Early on mistakes. So that's not what I wanted. Copy this, paste it in here. I'll fix that. And then we had to fix it here too. And now they should know about each other. There we go. And let's delete this. And now it's going to say, hey, let's implement the interface. And there we go. Now we have, these getting setters can just be getting set. I'll make it nullable. So what's it? I don't get why it means. What do I care? No building return types. Does that match implicit? Oh, in the interface. Oh, yeah. Duh. Wow. Okay. That should fix it. We'll make it nullable. Because maybe the user's not logged in yet. That totally makes sense to me. Right. And then we've thrown a new authentication or exception if we're not authenticated. That seems like it's right. And our view controller will want to get fancy and eventually check this mock in via dependency injection. Let's make a private method. And we'll say that we want to return an array of users. And we'll say return new list of user profiles. Actually, I think I could just say, can I say like this? And it's been a while since I've done C#, but I think I could just say new user profile. I could just say first name is Bob or Jane. Last name is Doe. Job title is developer. And let's see here. Email is janedoe@acme.com. And then what else do we need here? We need a phone number. We'll say that is 555-555-5555. And we need a department. We'll call this engineering. And what else do we need? We need a cell number. We'll just use 555. UI's now getting in my way. 555-1213. And then we have, what's the last thing? We need username and password. So we'll make the username the same thing as the email address, but that's optional, I guess. We'll just say username is jane.doe@acme.com. And then we'll say her password is, we'll just make it clear text right now. We'll say password 12. And we should be able to then do that. And then what we should be able to do is have another developer. We'll make a couple just for testing purposes. And we'll make this John Doe. Just change this to John. We'll say John is not a developer though. We'll say that he's a manager. And we'll say that he's a manager in engineering, and we'll say that his phone number is 56. And then we'll say his cell number is 4. Actually, let's make these match so that there's some consistency in here. And this would be John at appkit.com, and his password will be the same. We got 2 users in our mock service here that we can use for testing our authentication. And we can then say, hey, var users equal, well, first we'll say var results equals false. And then we'll say return results. And then we'll say here if var users equals get users. And then we'll say if users contains, or let's say users first user profile, and then we can say x dot username equals username and x dot password equals password. this. What's it bad about? Return the first element of the sequence that satisfies a condition. Can physically convert to a bool. Oh. Var user equals. I have extra privacy here, don't I? If user null and user dot username equals username and user dot password equals password. I'll double check here. So technically speaking, the null should work. The null should just work. Then we'll say result equals true, and then we'll say current user equals user, and then we'll return it. And then else current user equals null. Because if they're logged in and then they somehow send me wrong using a password, I'm logging them out. I'm kicking them out. That's what I want to do here. All right. So we've got some pretty basic code here. We've got a mock authentication service that should be able to go through and grab it. And we should be able to authenticate our user now with that. So now our next issue is going to be, we need to set up some dependency injection. And for that, let's ask our friend GitHub Copilot. That's my GitHub page. Let's go into here and ask it for some advice on how to do that. In a .NET MacOS App Kit application, provide an example on how to use dependency pendant, how to use DI to inject to register and interface and service implementation. Let's see here. .NET does have a package now for this. In the .NET world, one of those is use dependency injection. Yeah, I already did that. Yep. Okay. Bum. Yep. That sounds great. And then in here, we'll do, that's what we needed. Okay, so we need this NuGet package. So let's grab this NuGet package, start it with, and put that in. Visual Studio, where are you? You're right here, Visual Studio. All right, let's go in and we need to add this to two different things. We need to add the, not the project reference. We need to add a NuGet package. All right, here we go. Browse. Let's browse dependency injection. Add that in. And then we'll also add it into the Mac app. Technically speaking, we probably only need it in the Mac app. And in the world of our friend Jonas, who's not on the stream right now, but always says don't do things. They are a person that comes to chat all the time. Let's remove it from here until we need it. It's a really good point not to do that. So shouldn't add a package unless I really know I need it. I think I only need it in here. So in the app delegate, what we would need to do is we need to register it here because main would just bring up main. App delegates actually kind of where things happen. And when the app launches, this is where we'd add in our code for implementing our service. DI. And so let's see here. Let's go back to our example here that they gave us. So they say here, all we have to do is do a public static. We'll have to make this static because if we don't, we won't be able to access it from outside of. No, you can get access to the delegate, I think. No, I think you can get pointer to. Well, let's not worry about that. Let's make the assumption we never need access to it. So let's just say here, and let's go here and say that we need to bring in using Microsoft extensions dependency injection. Let's see if that Oops. That's weird. Let's do a constructor on this. So we'll say ctor, and then we can just say what's it say in the example here? Okay. Yeah. Well, let's make it new in the constructor. Do not do anything else in the constructor. I repeat, let's not do anything else in the constructor. Lifecycle and this can be really kind of crazy, right? So we're going to say here, in fact, I'm pretty sure it's going to be mad here. And we'll say that. That should fix that. And then what we want to do in here, this is where we want to register our dependency. You can see here, we're going to add this 2 lines of code here. Visual Studio. And we're just going to say here, but this is our authentication. Oh, we need to add using Custoda CRM lib services. And then now we should be able to see authentication service. And this will be the mock authentication service we're going to bring in. Mock authentication service. And why is this not seeing it? What did it do different in our code here? Did it make one and then, oh, it made one here and then set the service provided to it once it's built. Oh. Oh shit. That's another way of doing it. Okay. That's gonna mean this is gonna have to be nullable though. And because the fact that we can't make it in the constructor. Let's get rid of this constructor. Let's make it nullable. And then we'll say var services equals new service collection, and then we'll say here and magic sauce, that should happen. So now that we have this registered, we should be able to call this from our view controller. So inside our view controller, we just need to oh shoot, I ran into a new problem here that we can't override that constructor. We will have to get it from oh, TBG Gamer, how's it going? No, we're still going here. We're still going pretty strong here. Yeah, I usually stream from 12 until 1, and so, yeah, we'll probably go a little bit longer here. I'm trying to, excuse me, let me cough here. That was terrible. The wrong mute button. Sorry about that. Still got this darn sinus infection. Just cannot skip it. We got a Mac application here that we're trying to get up and running. Let's go ahead and get build, and we'll show you what we got going on here. It's been a while since we built it, and this is actually a Mac application using .NET, and I'm even using the Visual Studio for Mac. Although it's been semi-painful, it's been working. So I just got this quick authentication window that I'm working on right now, and we're gonna be able to type a username in, you know, like jane.doe@acme.com. And we'll type a password in. We'll type in password12. It doesn't do anything right because I haven't told the code to do anything yet, but that's what we're working on. Now, the problem's going to be is the constructor injection. I just now remember this. This is why I usually make view models, because I can view model the injector into it, but still the pointer for the storyboard file is going to have a problem. So the answer is authentication. First, this is going to break everything using Custoda CRM lib services. And if I do this, it's going to break everything. And then if I say private read-only authentication service, authentication. This is how I normally would write it. The problem is that this is gonna be mad because I don't think don't think this is gonna work because the serializer for doing the storyboards is gonna be mad. I'm pretty sure if I remember back, it's been a while since I've done this, a hot load or a hot minute since I've done this. The constructor is required if the view controller is loaded from a zip file or a storyboard file. It is. Do not put any initialization code here. Use view to load instead. See, that's the problem, right? But the problem is that I'm trying to use dependency injection. I'm pretty sure this is not going to work. Let's put a breakpoint right here. And let's run this thing. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to bomb out. I'm 99% sure we're going to bomb out. Yeah, view load didn't even fire. That's weird. That tells me that even though the zip file is coming up, it's not mapping it to the user authentication. But that's weird because we know it is because the handlers are here. Let's override the login clicked function. Or let's close this out. See if we get a hit on this. Partial. Okay. Text field, username.text. Text. Oh, that's weird. Not selected text. I thought they had a binding for this that allowed you to get the text out. In some of these, it would be it was called value. Let's ask this guy's our friend Copilot. What's going on here? How do I get the text value from a text? A NS text field in C#. It is the NS text field. String value. String value. What's the answer? It's not text, it's string value. Well, that's very var password equals text field password string value, and then we should be able to say authentication surface is authenticated username password. If let's just see if we can get a breakpoint in here or not. I don't think it's going to work. I think there's something going on because view did load should have popped, and it didn't pop, and that's concerning. And let's see if our view comes up. Just give me the background. Yep, see our method's not firing. So this view right now is not, these are not wired up. Let me take this out and see if it fixes it. If I take the constructor out, call out, and that's all right. If that happens, there's a couple ways to fix this. Yeah, it's still not firing, and I think that's because of the rename of the view. That's a big bummer. That's a really big bummer because I'm trying to think here. Oh, we don't have a lot of code in this. We don't have a lot of code in this. Let's do this. do I want to do it there like this or not? Let's open this in Xcode. And then see, it still thinks it's called view controller. This is a problem for us. How have I done this in the past? Well, in the past, I have just basically told it to make a new view controller by changing this right here. I already got an authentication view controller in C#, so I'm going to delete these two things here. Okay, see if I can get this reassociated. So I'm going to delete that view controller. I got no view controllers now, right? Go to my Xcode window, shoot. Go back to my storyboard, open that up in Xcode. And now what should happen is I don't have any view controllers, so I don't have any outlets and stuff set up. So if I go back to my main, you'll see that folder is missing for view controllers, right? So I'm gonna go into my authentication view controller I have here though. I'll find this and I'm gonna just go ahead and click on it again. Save that. And I can even do this. I can even just do auth view controller instead of the full version of authentication. And the reason for that is we want to try to get this to change so that the watcher sees that there's a new class assigned to this. This should auto-generate a C# class. So if I click close, and it says, do you want to save your changes? Should. The file watcher should, in the old days, make a new view controller for this. There it is. See the auth view controller got automatically created. Let's move that into the view controller folder. Take a look at what's going on here. We got a view controller, and we should have got no outlets because I didn't make any outlets. But that's okay. We've got our view controller fixed. So now let's go back and see if we can fix the outlets. Let's see if we can get this working again. I think this is a pretty good then. The reason why all this happened is earlier in the stream I renamed the view controller because the default name I didn't like. And when you rename things in the storyboard files, I kind of explained in Apple TV in the last stream, really bad things happen. It's it can get kind of icky, to tell you the truth. So here we go. Now we have the right name. This should probably work. Let's make a split up between these. And then in this one, we want to open the storyboard file. Like I've kind of explained before, my favorite way of doing this is just getting the view opened up over here. You can drag directly from the UI, but I always find that I accidentally dragged the wrong thing in the wrong spot, and then that's just never great. All right, so let's see here. I think you guys can see all this. So let's close that out. So then close this out so we can see it better. So we're in the interface file, not the implementation. It's really important, okay? We need to make an outlet. So first thing we need to make an outlet for is our username. And this is gonna be text field username. There's a weak outlet, and then our password. I'm gonna say text field password. And then we need to make an action for our button when our button gets clicked. So we're gonna make an outlet for that too. And we're gonna say instead of outlet, it's gonna be an action. We're gonna say login button. It's not really, we'll just say login clicked. And that's a .NET 9 kind of naming convention that you usually do. I'm gonna click save, close this out. It's asking me if I want to save again. I'm gonna say yep. And now show magic sauce. If I go to my code behind, nothing happened. Why is my code behind coming up? Oh, there it is. There's my outlets. So all my outlets were built. That's cool. So now let's go back over here. Close a bunch of this stuff out. All this stuff. Let's go into our authentication view first of all and just try to get our partial out of it. See what happens. So I'm gonna say here partial login clicked, and we'll say var username equals text field username dot string value dot trim var password equals text field password string value dot trim. We want to get any of those extra spaces if they hit a space bar. And now we need to get the What else I taught? Well, first, let's see if this works. Let's just put a breakpoint in. We're gonna need to get the authentication service back in from DI. No, I did not learn my name from renaming lessons. Renaming is always like the thing that kills you when you're using storyboard files. Let me tell you. But the default project, I wish it just didn't come with anything. Don't give me a storyboard file. Don't give me anything. Let me just create everything out of the box, because that's where I usually get caught. Is I'm not happy with the default value. So let's go show chain.do at acme.com and then password. Really doesn't matter. But let's see if our event fires. So our event fires. Okay, cool sauce here. Start out with let's go through and go over our breakpoint. Could be here. Our username should come in as until they grab the labels. Oops. Gotta fix those outlets. Let's go back to our outlets. Can't believe I did that. That's a rookie mistake. Let's go back into our view controller header file here. Text field, username and password. And then go look at our storyboard file, because it's giving me colons, which would mean it's looking at the labels values, not the password box files. So let's go back and look at our UI here. View stack. Here's our login button. So that we know that that's working, but instead it's this. We need these two right here. Okay, so first we need to do is click this. And I think what we could do is there's an outlet thing over here that we can delete the outlet from. So if we select the two labels, yeah, right here. So what we have to do is, since we accidentally linked them to the wrong outlet, we got to delete the reference to it. Otherwise, this is going to cause us chaos. So I'm going to delete it there, and then my password, because I made those wrong outlets, because these are the labels, not the boxes themselves. So you can see here, I'm highlighting the box, not the label for it. So I'm gonna now redirect these out to the outlets. That should be for username, and that should fix it. And then, oops, password, I need to go here. So here's our secure text field. And we'll put that into that outlet, and that should do everything. So I'm gonna save this. It'll ask us there. And so now, let's go ahead and run this code again. Now our username and password should come from there. Let's see what happens. Blah foobar, because we're not even going to authenticate somebody yet. I just want to see whether or not the values come back. So let's see what happened. Username is foo and bar. Okay, so we got username and password set. Perfect. And we could see this if we want to go see our locals. In .NET, the debugger is pretty cool. This is instantly here, and there's something called a watcher. And so I can just say in .NET, when I want to debug, I can say, hey, I'm looking for any variable with the word username in it. And if I add a watcher for it, you'll see that it's just there. So I can watch certain values. You could do this in Swift, but you have to use LLDB to do that. And it can be kind of not fun. But I'm a big fan of the watchers. I add watcher variables all the time. And I want to see when something actually takes a value. Especially when if it's like a bunch of stuff that's running in the background, you're not sure, like maybe it's on an async thread or something like that. By adding a watcher, you can see, oh, wait, boom, it just hit there. Okay, it's got a value. It didn't have a value before. And if you're trying to figure out like where something's getting set sometimes, locals are only going to give you your local scope. Using watchers will give you globally anytime it matches that, a symbol matches that, it will automatically pop it in and start watching the values of it. Pro tip for debugging that I really like a lot. All right, so now our problem is, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could say I service provider here, and I don't think I could do this. Private read only by service provider, Sorry, not service provider. We want authentication service. Oh, we gotta add namespace for it. That's why we can't see it. Using custoda.crm.lib.services. Okay, very cool. And now private read-only authentication service equals authentication service. And then we'll just go through here and add the underscore to it. This is kind of like a .NET naming convention. See, and we would say So I used to have my VI key bindings. I don't have them here right now. And then we would say this is like this. And then we would say here. See, that's the normal way you do this, but I have a feeling that if we run this now and we hit our breakpoint, I don't think it's going to inject in. I just don't. Because this changes the constructor signature, and the constructor signature won't match what the storyboard file is looking for serialization, and I don't think that that's going to work then. In fact, it did build. Is it running? Let's try it again. I think I'm impatient. There we go. We're seeing it now. The build happened, but I think it bombs out right away. The build's successful, but... And so that's our package. So I don't care about that one, the application output. Yep. There it is. See our stack trace that just dumps out? And the reason why is because the method signature no longer matches. And that would totally make sense to me, right? Because I was telling you guys with Apple TV is that you can't screw around with the method signature because this is how it finds a storyboard file. This won't work. And so what would happen is we would have to do something like this. We would have to have the app delegate. So this dot app, what is it? This dot there is a way to get a pointer to the app delegate. I have to remember it. But that's Copilot? What am I thinking here? We've got the Copilot in C# and a AppKit application. How do I get a pointer to the app delegate? Delegate from the view controller. And it's application, shared application. That's what I was looking for. All right, there we go. That should give us access to the delegate. So we could say var delegate equals. Oh, yeah, it crashed. Well, we know that. Delegate equals NS application shared NS. If I type it in right, shared application. And now the problem is that it's just a NS application. It's a regular app delegate. It doesn't know my custom property that I have inside of it. So then I have to typecast this to be in my type of app delegate, which is right here, app delegate. So I have to say, like this. And if I do this, and this, I can't use the word delegate, but that's a reserved service equals. Now I should be able to say dot, and then whatever service provider I put on the app delegate, I should be able to get access to it. That was called service provider. Why is it mad here? Can't convert dot. Wait, let's go look at what he said here. Oh, we had to get the delegate property off it. I got too quick for typing here. That makes sense, the delegate. Okay, that should work. Okay, so, and then we'd say if service is not null. Actually, we probably could do all this in a single line here. I'm pretty sure what I could do is say is service, what is it called? Where's my app delegate again? If it is an iService provider, so if I go back to my view controller here, is what that should do in C Sharp. It's been a while since I've written some C Sharp, and of course I'm writing terrible because I don't have VI. What that should do, it's a really interesting line of code here. And it's a little bit unique compared to, I don't think I need this one here anymore. So what we're saying is we're grabbing the service provider because it's nullable. We don't know if it's null or not. And so this is kind of like unwrapping in Swift. What we basically do is say, hey, if it is this interface, that means it's not null. Make a private variable for this here. And now we should be able to access that service provider in here, service provider dot, and we should be able to get service, and get service should be of type authentication service, and it should be able to give me that. It doesn't have a generic. That's weird. Type of authentication service. And then we would say authentication service equals. Then we'd have to typecast this back out. Oh, what's it been here? This would have to be nullable. Yeah, I made it nullable. I think it's not catching up. That should work. Now what we should be able to do is say, if authentication service is not null, then we can say authenticate. Var is authenticated equals authentication service. Well, actually, we could probably just do this on one if statement. I don't need a variable to it. Then we would say and authentication is authenticated, and then we would send in username and password. And what this should do then is give us code, and we could say to do here, route to new view controller. And that would give us the ability to route to the new view controller. And that should be, by theory, something that we could do here. A little concerned about the squiggly greens here. But we would need to typecast it out of the service provider get. Usually, I'm a little shocked. I thought for sure service provider had a generic for get service. But the only thing I see in here that it has is a type to pull out the service that's been registered. Well, let's see what happens here. So let's put a breakpoint. I don't even know what this is going to fire. We'll try to put a breakpoint in here. The serialization of this gets really kind of tricky, and sometimes you can't even do this here in the constructor, and you have to kind of do it in view did load. All right, so I did get through here. And let's see here. What is my... Did my service providers know? So it didn't work. Let's see what service provider is. Put a watcher in. Oop. It's supposed to be a lowercase. No, there's an authentication service right here. It's no. Yeah, so it didn't catch it. This is, I was kind of saying this in the Apple TV thing, is that you really have to watch it because life cycle's a bitch. I don't think so what can we do here? Okay, so we can basically override view will appear. View will appear. And I could try to do it here. Why is it in here? Oh, I have it private read only because of the fact that it's you only get sent in constructor. Let's just see if we can fire it here. Get a breakpoint here instead. So the will appear and view to load are two different methods that happen in different parts of the life cycle. You kind of want your authentication service available before the UI comes up. You want all your services available before the UI comes up because you may need to run business logic against those. And so that's my fear. Is trying to make sure I get it early enough in the life cycle so I don't kill myself here. And let's see if that breakpoint even runs. I should probably put a breakpoint here in the if. Just to see if that fires. Yeah, I'm already up. Let's go look at our watcher. It's still no. So that could mean that the app delegate's not working. So let's go through here and just write some different code here. Let's start with just say var app delegate equals this. And we'll say, instead of this, we'll say as app delegate. All right, so that should get us the app delegate. And now we should be able to say if app delegate.service providers, this could be no. Service provider is a service provider. Then let's go through and set this. Let's even take the typecast out. And what we can do is say as authentication service. All right, let's write this C# code like this and see what happens. We want to put a breakpoint in this if statement to see whether or not the delegate comes back or not, as no or not. This is just different syntax for doing the same thing in C#. The original thing where I was doing the parentheses, that's old style of typecasting, and this as statement is a newer way of doing that. So what is app delegate? So app delegate set to something. And it says service provider set to null here. See the issue here? Look at this. Server provider set to null. So now the problem is that my app delegate, when it's running, is not creating it. So if we go here, we did it in the finish loading, finish launching. Can I do it in a constructor? Let's do this and see what happens. We could probably make service provider not nullable then, because if it's in the constructor, it should just always work. That's it. So let's do this. Let's clean up our code a little bit here. Since we're always going to set in the constructor, we don't need to make that nullable anymore. That means in here, we don't have to do a null check against it anymore because it'll always be available. Nope. Because it doesn't know if this comes back as a delegate from typecast. Okay. All right. All right. This should work. So we should be able to do check here and put our breakpoint in. Let's just say console line is authenticated. That should work. Let's put a breakpoint here, and we should be able to get to here if we type the right username and password. And so we can take this out because I'm pretty sure these are going to work. So let's just go ahead and click continue here. And that should get us our window open. There's our login window. Jane.doe at acme.com. Password 12. I think it was the mock password domain. Go through here and take a look what happens. All right. We've got a username. Password. Our username is janedoe at acme.com. Our password is wrong. So this should fail. because I typed the password in wrong. All right, let's see here. Okay. No matching element, so we're throwing an exception here. So that's probably bad. So we should probably say try, and then catch no match or exception EX, and then we just want to say return. Well, result is already false. So if that happens, well, we don't even have to try this then. Well, shit. We don't even need the pointer to exception because we're just going to say if this fails, return false. That we could probably return a message back. We can make an envelope that instead of this bool, or not even an envelope, we could use a tuple to let's run this again actually. Let's see what exception it is. Or did it tell us what exception it was? Crap. Let's do this. We're gonna do this right. Let's do this right. Let's run that code again and type the password in wrong. This is why we should have run a unit test for this. I know that password's gonna be wrong, but I want the breakpoint here. Because we should blow up there. Yep. So let's see here. We're gonna go in, password, and then system invalid exception. Right. So now we can catch that particular exception. And we can say here, catch, and we'll say, system invalid. I copied it, but I didn't copy. You turd. You absolutely piece of turd. Let's see if I find the, where was my, and my output's not here anymore either. Is it? You turd. It was a system invalid something. Internet valid operation exception here. So let's do this. We're gonna change this out a little bit. All right, if I was doing a good citizen, I'd do something like this. And I would say, wait, we can't just do that without putting tuple in? Okay. So we're gonna use a tuple to return multiple things back, and I'll have to fix that interface, so let's do that also here. We'll say tuple. And this will give us an error message if it's false that we can use off of it. So let's go back here and instead now say we want to return, and here we're gonna say var result equals new tuple bool string, and we'll say false and string.empty. Okay, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to say results dot item 1, which would be the bool, will be true. That's not no. Results.item1 equals true. Why is it mad? Results is not no here. Oh, for frick's sakes, are you serious? Oh. You can't set the value after? It's unmutable. Unconceivable. From Princess Library. Or the Princess Bride. Alright, let's see here. Alright. Now let's do this. Okay. Oh, that's fine. I think it's good. Is it mad because the signature? It's the same as the method? I don't think so. All right, so we're gonna say is authenticated true, and then we're gonna say here if this, we're gonna say that's our error message, and now what we could do is we could say return new tuple bool string. We'll say this is going to be is authenticated in error message. There's some proper written C# code that this will give us a better thing. So if it is wrong, we can get back the error message, and then in our UI we can show like a an error message that says that didn't work. So let's see here. And that just means a little bit different here. So now we're gonna have to say if it's not no, and var auth is authenticated equals. Nope, we're not gonna be able to do it that way. We're just gonna have to say if not no here, and then let's get a var for it. Var equals and password if is authenticated dot. So if it's false, display the error message. Console dot right line. Let's say is authenticated that error message. Oh, item 2. Now I thought you could name those in C#. Let's see if we can do that. So look at that. Pretty sure you can name these. C# tuple name properties. Pretty sure the new one you can just say. Okay, so you can just say new name. Okay. Wait. In C#7. Oh, this is the new syntax. Okay, that's what I want. That's way better. Okay. Oh, I forgot. Let's do that. So of course, I don't use C# every day, so sometimes I forget syntax stuff. So that's why we look up stuff. So the answer is that instead it says it's like this. You'd say bool is authenticated, and then you'd say this would be error message, and these should be both capitalized because these would be properties that were returned. And boom. I don't have it all memorized. I know that's I'm a terrible person. I don't just have it all memorized. And now what I should be able to do is just say return new, and if I remember right, it would just be like this. It would be is authenticated equals this, and I'd say error message equals this, and that would get our tuple. What did I do wrong here? You cannot convert anonymous new. Do I need to use a new keyword at all? Yeah, I do. Because I'd have to make a pointer to it. Is it just you need the signature here? Yeah. I think that's right either. Crap. I bet I closed that window, didn't I? I did. C# total. Look at the same link again. I closed too quick and did not read the syntax fully. Yeah, but okay, so I get that that's the signature for it, but how do I return it then? Return. Oh, you just do it in the order, it looks like. Okay. Just reading this, make sure that I don't jump the gun like I did last time. We'll keep that open just in case. Let's go back to Visual Studio, see if we can finish this off here. So, according to this, it just says return them in the order in a function. Not even call new. We just say here, we'll just say is authenticated, and then comma, and then we'll say error message, and magic sauce should happen, and it should handle the return. Oh, yeah, no errors. That's good. Okay. Oh, semicolon, because we're in C#. That's a semicolon-based language. Why is it man now? Oh, the interface is gonna have to change the signature because we changed this. So let's just go here, go to interface, go to our method signature here, change this out to be the new tuple syntax. That seems like it's good. That seems like it's happy. Let's go back to our view controller. And now we should be able to get the, we don't even have to use item 2 now. We can just say here if it's authenticated, and then here we can get error message, so we can get error. See, that looks better to read, right? Item 1 and item 2 is terrible. That seems like it'd be, when you're debugging, you're like, what the hell is item 1 and item 2? This is, that's not a great way to write code, but this is a lot better. So let's see here. And let's type in, first we'll just do type one that we know is wrong. And what should happen is we should hit that breakpoint. There we are. We should run through. It's authenticated. If we go look at those values, we can see false, and you can say username and password's incorrect. That's exactly what I wanted. And we can take this breakpoint out because we're pretty cool with that. Let's hit continue. And if we look here, you'll see username and password's incorrect. Right here, you can see that. That's, now we should say else. And put this code here. And we'll route to the main view. All right, so that's what we need to do here. We're gonna stop this, and then we'll type in a real username and password and see if that's working. And if that's working, then routing to the main view will be the next thing we have to handle here. Oh, let me check my text messages. Oh, that's dangerous on a stream. Oh, my wife just told me lunch is ready and I'm supposed to be in there eating. So I'm running late on the lunch stream here. Let's just see if this works, and then we'll call it a day. Acme. Password 1 2. I think that's the password. Route to main view. There we are. Boom. I know food is important. That's it. That worked. We can see here in our little console. I know it's hard to read on the stream, but you can see here route to main view is there, which means we're done. We've got a very simple Mac application started here, but we're gonna keep working on it on the lunch stream. The lunch stream, no lunch stream tomorrow. There may be a lunch stream on Sunday. I can't promise it, but I'm gonna try to do a .NET stream on Sunday, maybe. Watch my Twitter. It will probably be on the fly. Since we're not using those, we can get rid of those. That seems like it's good. But what did we do today? Well, today we went in and figured out that, we could build a Mac application. We're using storyboard, which are kind of interesting, to build our view. and we have a window here, and what we're going to do is close this window eventually and open up a different window. And in that window, we're going to either that or we can grow this window, I guess. It's a good question. Do I close the window or do I think if I remember right, in the past when I've done this, I'm 99% sure I bring another window up and I get rid of that window. It's no different than the Xcode window. If you were to launch Xcode the first time and you have anything open, it asks you for like which project to open. That's a separate window, right? That makes sense. If you think about it here, this is our login window. But once you select a project, it brings a totally different window up with a different purpose. And I think that's the road we're going to go down. We'll make another window. We'll put a navigation controller on top of it. And we'll have the navigation controller then have the ability to control like where we're going and what we're doing. And that's probably, although everything will be on the main window, it will be a split view. We probably don't need a navigation controller now I think about it. I'll think about this and we'll do it on the stream. Either way, I know my wife's going to get mad if I don't do this. I'll be checking in the code shortly to GitHub. So it'll be in GitHub, and this will be called the CRM. I'll probably call it like a .NET CRM. And so if you want to go check out this code, you can. Everybody, TDBD Gamer, thanks everybody for hanging out in the stream. If you're watching a video on demand, the next one in this series will be either later this weekend on Sunday or on Monday. We'll be coming back and doing the next step of this. So appreciate it. There will be possibly a Twitch stream later on today for Swift people. Let me check my schedule if I'm supposed to do that or not. I think so. Let me check Twitch. I think I have a. I think if we look at what's on the schedule here, let me just check here. Where's my schedule? There may be a Swift video coming up here later on. Let me just go back to me. Find my schedule. Where is my schedule? There may be a Swift stream a little bit later on today. So if there is, I'll look forward to see you guys there. And if not, I will see you guys on the next one. Either way, take care, stay safe, and treat each other great, everybody. See ya.